Ladies and gentlemen, as we know now, since October the 7th, it's been nearly 2 years at this point, and of course the conflict and the violence and the bloodshed in Gaza is obviously still ongoing. And with any of these things, with a lot of war and a lot of chaos, comes a lot of refugees as well. And this has been something that a lot of people have been very vocal about since the beginning. That obviously, whenever there's war in the Middle East, it really invariably only means one thing for Europe.
It means we got to pick up the slack for some reason. I don't know why it's our problem, why in any way we're involved, and it's basically because we're a weak touch that gets our humanity and good feeling exploited by people that are far more cynical than that.
Absolutely, absolutely. But before we talk about everything else to do with the refugees, I just want to tell you that we've obviously got Islander issue 4 out. Many wonderful essays in here. It's $14.99 on the website, and you'll really, really enjoy it. So the other thing as well, of course, is that there is, exactly as you say, Josh, we're a weak touch, right? And the sort of liberal compassion and empathy above all things, not for our own people, of course.
No.
Compassion and empathy for everyone else in the world reigns supreme. And so obviously, as you have here, this was back in June, dozens of MPs are calling on Starmer to urgently establish a Ukraine-style visa for the Gazans to come over to Britain. And it feels like it's only a matter of time, is really the point of all of this, right? Mm-hmm. The pressure is there. It comes from all the NGOs, all the refugee charities, basically everyone in Parliament with this worldview.
Or they'll just do it, slap a D notice on it, and tell you about it 2 years later.
Mm.
That's a classic.
Well, yeah, all that as well.
Afghan thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where loads of Afghans magically just appear in Britain. And it's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Thousands of them.
Mm.
Thousands of them.
You sound Zulu.
Yeah. But as Sam points out here, and to be clear, we don't want that chain migration. It's like when you look at Denmark, it took in 321 Palestinians, 71 received prison sentences in the 27 years afterwards, and by 2011, 200 of working age were on benefits, right? And so this is the point. The rhetoric always begins with, well, it's just temporary refuge, and then it becomes indefinite refuge, and then it becomes citizenship, and then it becomes, oh, well, we've got families as well that we need to bring.
They've got uncles and aunties.
Mm. So do I. Yeah, it doesn't mean, I move somewhere, I take them with me, does it? Mm. Also, it doesn't matter which side of the conflict the refugees are coming from. I just don't want them here. No.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyone that comes from a desert, forget about it. No chance.
And from a group of people that the Egyptians and the Jordanians and the Saudis refuse, essentially, to have anything to do with.
Well, they know what happened in Lebanon, don't they?
So these people are not the best people, let's just put it that way. Why should they come here, of all places? Of all places, why?
Well, they may not be going to Indonesia. That's the wrong one. I don't want anything to do with
Mali wins the 2025 Independence Cup. Yes.
Thank you. Indonesia. Thank you, Samson. Indonesia affirms no negotiations with Israel on Gaza residents' evacuation.
All right.
So the Israeli government seems to have been putting out feelers across many nations, saying, because they want Gaza, of course, they want the territory, they want to clear out Hamas and all the rest of it that we've been talking about for 2 years now. But this leaves them, well, where are the millions and millions of people going to go? Where there's a lot of people. And so Indonesia, maybe, well, the Indonesian government denied this, but then so did the South Sudanese. And I keep hearing lots of things from various different countries saying, oh, there's been no talk of it whatsoever. But somehow these stories are coming from somewhere. And there's many videos that you can check out online of Netanyahu just explaining the fact that, yeah, of course we're in conversation with foreign countries about where all the Gazans can go to, where all the Palestinians can go to. So it's not going to be Israel, of course. You know, that whole, when we get, oh, well, you have to accept all these refugees because you bombed their country, right? Well, Israel's the one bombing, but they're not accepting all of the It's funny how that works. You don't actually have to do that, funnily enough.
The obvious place to send them, assuming Egypt will just refuse, Jordan will just refuse, is then the West Bank. But that's no good for Israel either, is it?
No,
they want rid of them for good.
I mean, the obvious thing to do is to adhere to the agreement of the Israeli settlement that we gave them in the first place and not disturb them at all. Aren't they breaking our agreement? So the last place it should be is Britain, because we insisted upon them staying there. The Israelis have broken their word, and as far as I'm concerned, I'd sooner, take action against Israel than accept these refugees. Wouldn't even have to think about it.
Yeah, it'd be an absolute no-brainer that no, and if you keep putting pressure on us, Israel, we'll shut your embassy or something. No, it's a hard no, thank you very much, from me.
They've explicitly gone against our agreement that we had, right?
Plus, also, from the Palestinians' point of view, from Hamas's point of view, it's like, you already displaced us. I hate to play devil's advocate on their behalf, but you already displaced us from our villages that are now in Israel. And so now you want to send us to Britain or Indonesia. It's like, no, that's the opposite of our ultimate goal. So, yeah, it just seems that Israel are hell-bent on clearing the Gaza Strip of all the people there, regardless of anything, regardless of what damage or disruption it causes to the entire world.
But, of course, not every country in the world is foolish enough to take them.
Right.
And this is, you can see this is an article from over a year ago, with Belgium has the most Palestinian asylum seekers in the EU. It says since...
Tiny little Belgium. Belgium's tiny.
Since March, Palestinians have been the largest group of asylum seekers in Belgium, according to a commission. In June of 2024, 301 Palestinians applied for asylum in Belgium, and in March this year, Palestinians became the largest group of the applicants. But the guy goes on to say, moreover, about half of the Palestinian asylum seekers have already received international protection in other EU countries, and this places an additional burden on them. So, of course, Brussels are going to want to divvy them up in the other European countries, right?
Oh, they didn't immediately start loving cheese and become big Poirot fans. Oh, that's a surprise.
They do have excellent chocolate there, though.
Yeah. But that was 2024, so let's go to this year, shall we? This was just last month. Knife attack in the 18th of Paris, a Palestinian arrested. Both the man stabbed and the man arrested were Palestinians. So, shape of things to come, I suppose. But then you had this. The French court grants refugee status to Gazans outside of the United Nations mandate for the first time. And it goes on to say that they've ruled that Palestinian nationals from Gaza who are not under the United Nations protection may be granted refugee status under the 1951 Geneva Convention, citing the conduct of Israeli military operations in the enclave.
Someone got the memo from Bibi. We're clearing them out. Do whatever you got to do. Say whatever you got to do. They're getting cleared out.
This is the point. It doesn't matter whether you're in the convention or you're outside of the convention. There are enough lawyers working for these people. There are enough do-gooders and just enemies of European peoples, right? That it is coming in our current state. They are coming.
If Jess Phillips has got anything to say about it, they are.
We're not the world's solution to the problems, and you've rejected colonialism across the world. So, your problems are your own. Get on with it. It's nothing to do with us. Israel, Palestine, I don't really care. It's nothing to do with me.
It's not our war.
No, I've got my own problems at home, fighting for my own people. And, I understand it must be difficult for many of the Palestinians that, there was an agreement which the Israelis broke. But at the same time, it's not our problem to solve, is it? We're not that important in that region anymore.
No, and what's more, you always get it trotted out by them, don't you? It's like, oh, well, Britain has a long history, proud history of helping refugees. It's like, yeah, we did.
And then we sent them back as well.
But right up until you kind of just, took the biscuit and by importing millions and millions of people, right, changing our homeland, putting us in this existential place of threat where, well, we've got other priorities now. Yeah, we could take 30,000 Huguenots at one time, but those days are behind us, right? This is where we are now. This is how things are. And we're not having the one time you want to pry the heritage of Britain, the heritage of England. It's like it's to further dismantle us and put us under threat, right? That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's all it is. The French granted refugee status. That didn't last long. France halts all evacuations from Gaza over alleged anti-Semitic reposts by a Palestinian student who came to France.
That seems like a pretty tenuous excuse, but it's a good way of getting out of it, I guess.
Right. Well, it just goes back to that point, doesn't it? It's like, well, what stopped it? Well, it wasn't the crime.
Oh, no.
It wasn't the crime happening on the streets. It was, shockingly, a Palestinian not having a very positive view of Israel.
I think that's to be expected.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest.
Also, it doesn't detail what the nature of the post was, so it's such a loose term, it could be anything.
It's mad to watch sort of wokist virtue signallers being bashed from pillar to post. It's like, oh, the virtue signalling correct thing to do is to take in Gazans. Oh, no, but they are anti-Semitic, though. Also, but just vacillating. Like,
I think
just do what's in the best interest of your people. That's not that hard.
I think they squared that circle by sort of embracing some degree of anti-Semitism, haven't they? In that they just don't care about it anymore. Like, you look at the US college campuses, and to be honest, it was heavily handedly dealt with by Trump, but there we go. What happened to free speech there, eh?
Who are the men that pick for scraps amongst the ruins at the end of history? You should know, because you encounter them every day. Between the towering buildings of a fallen empire, we find the Fellahin, the historyless men, who know nothing of the turning of the cosmic wheel and find themselves outside of civilization itself. Cut loose from the great chain of being, they represent the loam into which our dying culture will return. That is, unless we choose to take up the burden once again. This Fellahin condition is the subject we explore in issue 4 of Islander magazine, on sale while stocks last and available worldwide at shop.lotusseaters.com.
But it's becoming, obviously, an ever more intractable problem because now you have European countries just swelling demographically with people from the Middle East who obviously have huge ethno-religious loyalty to the Gazans.
What? They might have an in-group preference of their own that they bring with them.
But then also because of the post-war world, you have this paranoia, even up to the elites, right, about just anything slightly critical of Israel. It's like, we can't have that, or if we're not gunning for them, then... So you've got this thing where these two things are just creating conflict every single time they come, and it's on our soil. And it's on our soil, in our continent, for a group of people who have different homelands, other homelands.
Yeah, importing foreign
they
conflicts is just not our business.
No.
It's annoying enough when India and Pakistan playing cricket because we see it on the street.
You can see Germany here having to figure out this conundrum as well, conflicted over the project to rescue children from Gaza. So, and again, it's always, and I hate this because it makes me feel like a dick, right? To just,
I know what you're going to say,
right,
and
to
I
be
agree,
like, no, we're not taking in, like, wounded or really, really ill children. I don't like saying that sentence, right? It doesn't make me feel good to say that sentence, right? Because it is really horrible what's happening there. But you know what all this leads to.
It's a vanguard.
So we'll take 30 children, and then all the families have got to come, and then it's 10,000 more, and then before you know it, and I hate it. I hate the cynicism, but it's true.
It's the classic thing that has been used to manipulate us over and over and over again. Look at this one drowned child that washed up somewhere. Look at this one...
Murdered by their parents, by the way.
Look at this one girl from Kuwait City that was treated badly. Oh, we must go to war then. Look at this one child that washed up on the Rio Grande or something.
That's how you know you're being
Like-
manipulated.
Yeah, yeah, and you're quite right. I couldn't agree with you more. It's horrible to say on paper, on the face of it. It seems insanely heartless, but no, it's a tool, a mechanism to manipulate us.
Yeah.
It's also possible to send people to other countries to help as well. They don't actually have to physically come to Britain. In fact, logistically speaking, if they're really sick, the journey might endanger them more than actually treating them closer to home. So ideally, the best thing to do, I mean, I do actually want to help those children. I think the best thing to do is find a way to make it work either within Palestine or Gaza itself, obviously a bit dangerous, or a surrounding country, and find some agreement with Israel where you can at least take children and no adults. And they can't take exception to that because it would make them look even more terrible on the international stage than they already do.
It should obviously be the West Bank, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt. If those people from Gaza City are going to be displaced, if that's what Nettie has decided the policy is, then those places should be the places that take them.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
Indonesia, not Sudan, certainly not Germany or Belgium or England, for God's sakes. It's madness.
The former
It's
countries
madness.
are Muslim, right? Indonesia,
Right.
Sudan has got a Muslim population.
Even-
Can't remember if it's majority.
Even the governments of Indonesia and Sudan aren't that much of that short-sighted and political weaklings. Even they are like, no, thank you, thanks, but no thanks.
It's
It
worth
speaks
mentioning,
volumes, doesn't it?
South Sudan, which was the part of Sudan they mentioned, is only 6% Muslim as well. So they're in a sort of similar boat to Britain, ironically, because we're about 6% Muslim as well.
And isn't Indonesia, or is it Malaysia? I think it's Indonesia. It's like the most populous Muslim country in the world.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's just an endless number of islands in Indonesia. They probably could find an island or an island chain or two to resettle
As long
a
as it's
few
not-
10,000 Gazans on. They probably could do that.
As long as it's not Western Papua, which they illegally annexed from Papua New Guinea. No one ever talks about that one, do they?
Oh, Colin, you'll have to do a segment on that.
I already
The
have.
Oh, well, we'll have to watch it.
Is East Timor an Indonesian thing as well? I should know more about that.
I think
Anyway.
so.
But really, the other thing as well is that just when they say, "Oh, have you no compassion? Have you no empathy for the children?" It's like, yeah, I do for the British children, right? And this is the thing. What it always comes down to is like, it's not a question of whether you have compassion or not, right? There's not a single person at this panel who doesn't have compassion or empathy, but it's like, who do you most prioritize it for? And that's all any person really does, right? And our priority is obviously with the children of this country, right? The British children of this country. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If it shouldn't be any other way. You shouldn't be getting morally guilt-tripped into prioritising another country's children.
It's just how you extract resources out of people is you try and give them an out-group preference, don't you?
So anyway, as you can see here, reported by the BBC, bring sick children and injured children to the UK from Gaza immediately. MPs are saying a cross-party group of MPs has written to the government urging them to bring the sick and injured. In a letter to senior ministers, 96 MPs stress children are at risk of imminent death and any barriers to their evacuation should be lifted. Excuse me. Says, and the letter also calls for children and their families to have the option of claiming asylum or resettling in the UK once the treatment is completed.
Of course.
Traitors.
It's like, it's always there. It's always there. You mask it with something, so compassionate, so just morally, uncontestably morally good. And then you load it with something like that. I'll skip on a bit. So it goes on to say that the first group of Gazan children to be brought to the UK in the coming weeks And this is current. This is a current headline now. Obviously now finally addressing England. And they will be the first children brought to the UK for treatment as part of the government operation, being coordinated by the Foreign Office, Home Office and the Department of Health. And the children will be selected according to the need by doctors working for the Hamas-run health ministry before the World Health Organization coordinates travels. And it goes on to say it's unclear which third country the children will transit through on their way to the UK, and exactly how many children will be involved or whether further groups will follow, which they will. And the host country agrees to cover the cost of treatment, including mental health support, as well as housing and living needs for the patient and their companions. And yeah, and this there was also a group working. I didn't jot down the name, but there was a group here that was, sorry, I should have made a note of it, hosted by Dr. Fazana Rahman. Again, just head of an NGO, a refugee charity, who's helping to coordinate all of this. And it's just really...
So let me get this straight. So there's an ancient desert feud between Judaism and Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Massive land grab in the late 40s. An interminable war since then, where both sides are extremely brutal to each other. Net result is we have to accept terrorists into our land.
More or less.
Thousands of miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. But, so obviously, as always, you can count on Rupert for the correct opinion on all of this, which is just that the BBC reports that 30 to 50 Gazan children will be brought to the UK for medical assistance. Nobody else will say it, but this is madness. It is not our responsibility. The BBC reports it is understood that some may enter the asylum system after completing treatment. They will all stay with their families forever. There is now essentially a Palestinian refugee scheme. Hundreds will turn into thousands. The answer has to be sorry, but the answer is no. Not when British children are suffering and even dying because of delays in medical care. I will be called a vile monster, but we must put British children first. I make no apologies for stating that.
Yeah.
Quite right.
Yeah, true leadership from Rupert. Just sensible.
A bit of moral backbone. I mean,
right.
It used to be... It's crazy that he seems like he's one of the only ones with an actual moral compass and the balls to say it. How mad that there's one independent MP.
It's like an anomaly, really, how he's even managed to get into Parliament.
Yeah.
As a decent human being. I didn't know it was possible.
But obviously, the point is that Rupert, for now, is just one man. Mm-hmm. And we all know that the people who are advocating for the Gazans to come to the United Kingdom are pushing at an open door. They will start coming, right? And they will start trickling in more and more. And that's the future for for this year. I don't know what to tell you. There it is.
Who are the men that pick for scraps amongst the ruins at the end of history? You should know, because you encounter them every day. Between the towering buildings of a fallen empire, we find the Fellahin, the historyless men, who know nothing of the turning of the cosmic wheel and find themselves outside of civilization itself. Cut loose from the great chain of being, they represent the loam into which our dying culture will return. That is, unless we choose to take up the burden once again. This Fellahin condition is the subject we explore in issue 4 of Islander magazine, on sale while stocks last and available worldwide at shop.loadseaters.com.